Hello everyone, this is Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host, and this is another episode of Top 10. This episode we're going to take a look at 10 of the most influential people in the world. Stay tuned. All right, let's begin. But let me first preface this countdown by saying, obviously, there are more than 10 influential people in the world, but we're just going to take a look at 10. But there are hundreds of them, but we hope you'll enjoy the ones that we have selected. So let's start with number 10. This is a guy by the name of Hugo Junkers, Junkers, and Hugo lived from 1859 to 1935. He was an engineer who made his home in Germany. Why would we include Hugo Junkers in this countdown of some of the most influential people the world has ever known? Because Hugo Junkers was a German aircraft engineer and designer who, in his 50s, created the world's first passenger aircraft. That's why we're including him in the countdown. Hugo pioneered all metal planes and flying wings and made travel around the world so much more possible. Number 9, you know him, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo lived from 1452 to 1519. He, of course, was from Italy. Leonardo da Vinci was a man of many numerous talents. Some say he happens to have been the smartest man to ever have lived. And that's very well possible. He gave us art. He helped us understand human anatomy. He was way ahead of his time and saw the age of flight a full 400 years before it happened. Take a look at some of his sketches, some of his drawings. They're on the web. They are amazing. Talk about being way ahead of his time. He foresaw the parachute, the helicopter, I think snorkeling or scuba gear. I mean, an amazing guy with a truly amazing brain. Da Vinci's achievements cross so many disciplines from art to science that it's really very difficult not to do a whole episode on him on this channel. And you know what? We probably will sometime soon. Da Vinci's paintings and inventions have made him the leading man of the Italian Renaissance period, or maybe any period for that matter. He painted, of course, the incredible Mona Lisa, The Last Supper, and was creating sketches of machines which look like bicycles and, as I said before, helicopters way before the Wright brothers took flight at Kitty Hawk. How does that happen? Number 8 is the one, the only, Cleopatra. And Cleopatra lived from 69 BC to 30 AD. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 69 BC to 30 BC. Yeah. Oh. And, of course, as you might know, Cleopatra was the ruler of Egypt for a while. She was one of the most famous female leaders of all time, ruled Egypt for almost 30 years, and is one of the women who changed the world. And as you can probably surmise, it was no easy task. It isn't now, and it certainly wasn't back then. Cleopatra's political, social, and negotiation skills excelled both herself and Egypt amongst numerous internal and external battles in what was then, and probably still is, anywhere, a male-dominated society. We are still fascinated with Cleopatra to this day, also because of her alleged private life that consisted, per se, of love affairs and alliances with both Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, two of Rome's most noted leaders. It all came to an end when she unfortunately took her own life after being severely defeated by Octavian, one of the most powerful men in the Roman world. Cleopatra changed the world by making Egypt wealthier and more powerful through Rome's resources, while proving that women can succeed for sure in a male-dominated world. Number 7, Willis Carrier, who lived from 1876 to 1950. Willis was an American engineer best known for inventing, I love it, modern air conditioning. The last name was Carrier, C-A-R-R-I-E-R. Familiar last name? Well, now you know why. In Buffalo, New York, on July 17, 1902, in response to a quality problem experienced at the Sackett-Wilhelms Lithographing and Publishing Company of Brooklyn, Willis Carrier submitted drawings for what became recognized as the world's first modern air conditioning system. The 1902 installation marked the birth of air conditioning because of the addition of humidity control, which led to the recognition by authorities in the field that air conditioning must perform no less than 4 basic functions. Function number 1, control temperature. Function number 2, control humidity. Function number 3, control air circulation and ventilation. And equally important is function number 4, cleanse the air. As of the filming of this episode of Top 10, we are rapidly approaching summer here in the Houston metro area. So from me personally to you, Willis Carrier, thank you. Also, you might be interested to know that on December 3rd, 1911, Carrier presented the most significant document ever prepared on air conditioning, his rational psychrometric formulae is what the document was called, and he presented this at the annual meeting of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. This document tied together the concepts of relative humidity, absolute humidity, and dew point temperature, thus making it possible to design air conditioning systems to precisely fit the requirements on hand. Don't think I would have understood a thing if I had read that document, but again, Mr. Carrier, from my heart to yours, thank you. Number 6 is an amazing hero of a guy that you might not have ever heard of by the name of Cyril Rriscola, and they used to call him Rick. He was born in 1939 and passed on September 11th, 2001. Cyril was a retired United States Army officer of British birth who served with distinction in Northern Rhodesia as a member of the Northern Rhodesia Police and as a soldier in the Vietnam War, where he was a second lieutenant in the United States Army. At 8:46 a.m. on the morning of September 11th, 2001, as you might sadly recall, American Airlines Flight 11 struck the World Trade Center Tower number 1. Rriscola heard the explosion and saw the tower burning from his office window. When a Port Authority announcement came over the PA system urging people to stay at their desks, Rriscola ignored the announcement, grabbed his bullhorn and his walkie-talkie and his cell phone and began systematically ordering Morgan Stanley employees to evacuate, including the 1,000 employees in World Trade Center Building 5. He directed people down a stairwell from the 44th floor, continuing to calm employees after the building lurched violently following the crash of a second plane 38 floors above. Morgan Stanley executive Bill McMahon stated that even a group of 250 people visiting the offices for a stockbroker training class knew what to do because they had been shown the nearest stairway. After successfully evacuating most of Morgan Stanley's 2,687 employees, Rriscola went back into the building. When one of his colleagues told him he too had to evacuate, Rriscola said these words: "As soon as I make sure everyone else is out." He was last seen on the 10th floor, heading upward shortly before the tower collapsed. Rriscola's remains were never found. Hero with a capital H. Here's number 5. You might recognize this guy's last name, Oskar Schindler. Oskar Schindler, as you might already know, was a German nationalist and a member of the Nazi Party who ended up saving 1,200 Jews during the Holocaust by employing him to work in his enamelware and metal factory. He employed them to work there. Originally, Schindler was concerned with the profits of his factory, but as time went on, he bribed Nazi officials and guards with luxury items to pull his workers out of the camps and keeping them in the factory, keeping them safe from the gas chambers. Schindler lived from 1908 to 1974, and he was originally from the Czech Republic. Number 4, you probably also know Florence Nightingale. She was the founder of modern nursing, as well as being an English social reformer and statistician. Florence was also known as Lady of the Lamp from making nightly rounds as a nurse during the Crimean War in the 1850s. She also founded the first secular nursing school at St. Thomas's Hospital in London. Florence Nightingale lived from 1820 to 1910. Her place of birth, Florence, Italy. We're down to number 3, the one, the only Thomas Jefferson, and he, as you probably well know, helped draft one of the most important documents in history, the Declaration of Independence, which declares, we need to remember this to this very day, that all men are created equal, and he helped to lay the foundation of the United States of America. He was the 3rd president of the United States, as well as an advocate for democracy. Jefferson was also involved in the Louisiana Purchase in 1803 and also oversaw the Lewis and Clark expedition to explore the Wild West. The one and only Thomas Jefferson lived from 1743 to 1826 and passed at the age of 83. We're down to number 2 now, the incredible Rosa Parks needs to be in this countdown. As you probably know, Parks was a civil rights social activist who gained fame by refusing to move to the back of a city bus when the bus driver demanded that she give up her seat to accommodate a white passenger. She was known as the First Lady of Civil Rights and the mother of the freedom movement. She was the first person to resist racial segregation on a city bus and become an important icon throughout the movement. Park passed at 92 years of age. She was born in 1913, passed in 2005. Last incredible person who has done so much good in this world. She's number one in our countdown. It's Mother Teresa. She dedicated her life to serving those in poverty, particularly and primarily in Calcutta, India. She founded the Missionaries of Charity, which as of 2012 was active in 133 countries with 4,500 sisters working in those countries. They run hospices for people with HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, leprosy, as well as maintaining orphanages and schools for homeless children. Mother Teresa deservedly was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in 1979. She passed at the age of 87, lived from 1910 to 1997. Well, that was our countdown. As we said before, there are many, many more amazing souls other than the ones we covered in our 10 today, but I'm sure you will agree that the 10 we did cover deserve to be covered. I think the lesson that at least I learned from doing something like this is we all have that spark of serving human beings as human beings and helping everybody on this planet become better human beings. And these 10 are perfect examples of that, as are you and I and so many others. So the message is to keep striving to make the world a better place. And how do we do that? By concentrating on making ourselves better people and giving our hearts and souls to others to help them to strive to be better. Together, as a group, we can do it. And we are doing it, as typified in the 10 that we covered. So, with that said and done, I'd like to thank you for joining me for this episode of Top 10. We'll see you on another episode of this weekly show here on Live Life Well TV.